Here in Las Vegas for USA Basketball Training Camp, now joined with Walker Kessler here on Roundball, Roundup on UtahJazz.com. Walker, pleasure. Thank you for stopping by.
Happy to be here. Thanks for having me.
Walker, where were you when you got the call that you were going to be involved with USA Basketball?
Well, I was actually working out at the practice facility in Utah, and I was working out, whatever, and Jay-Z comes on the court and says, Walker, stop. I need to take this call. So I was kind of freaking out. I was like, I don't know what's about to happen. I'm about to get traded. It was not I was getting – everything was going in my head. And he said, it's Coach. It's Coach Will Hardy. I was like, oh, okay. So I took the phone, and Coach was like, hey, bud, what you doing? And I was like, yeah, I'm working out, Coach. And he was like, well, just want to say congrats on making the USA team. And I was like, oh. I definitely was kind of speechless, but, they voiced their congrats, and here I am.
This is something that's completely new. You were involved with the U19 at some point with trying to make that roster, but this is the big one. This is going for the FIBA World Cup. What was the feeling that you got receiving that call and realizing you're going to be playing with the full national team?
I feel like every kid watches the Olympics and watches the Dream Team and all these USA teams, and to finally be here representing the U.S. it's an unbelievable honor. And I'm just excited to have that flag behind me and wave behind me, but because that's a cool picture always for every athlete. But it's an unbelievable honor, and just so thankful for the opportunity.
How you go about integrating into the squad, because this team doesn't have much international experience. You're all going through it almost at the same time. How are you guys trying to build a team?
Yeah, I think that they did an unbelievable job of selecting the guys. Obviously, all incredibly talented, but more than that, they're all very unselfish. They're all buying into a common goal of trying to win, and everyone understands that it's going to take the whole team to win gold. And you can feel that in the way we practice, the way we play. Everyone's just playing hard and playing for each other.
Being one of basically two really bigs on this team with you and Jaren Jackson Jr., how is it being one of the two really tall players on this team?
I think that obviously my defensive prowess is a big word, but my defensive ability.
Use it.
On the floor, and obviously Jaren's an unbelievably talented defensive player as well. Having that role of being a defensive anchor, I'm really excited, and I'm excited to learn from Jaren, because obviously I want to be a defensive player of the year eventually, and seeing what he does and how he made it, it's an unbelievable opportunity to learn.
How are you getting adjusted to the rules? Because it's very different from the NBA.
Yeah, a lot different. First off, no defense in 3 seconds. So it's back to college days. I can camp in that paint. I can set up a tent, bonfire, have s'mores. I can do the whole thing. So that's an adjustment. But you don't want to stay there too long, because obviously all those European teams and all the other teams, everywhere, not just in Europe, but most of them have unbelievably talented guys that can all shoot. So you can't overhelp necessarily, because they're so good at swinging the ball and kicking it. But still understanding that, you can stay in that help side for a pretty long time. And then obviously, the goaltending rule, if the ball's on the rim at all, it's a live ball. You can hit it out. So if it's shooter's touch might not apply, because I can go up and hit it. So that's been an adjustment. What else? Then not even on the defensive side, but there's when we're on offense, or I guess defense too, whenever there's the ball is like a dead ball in the half court, you can't pass it past the full court. It has to be in the half court, so you have to get it in the half court. So that's a massive adjustment, but also an advantage on the defensive side. So just kind of stuff like that, getting used to that. Obviously getting used to the ball and, the distance of the three-point line and stuff like that.
I feel like for you, goaltending must be such a difficult one, because you think you're doing it wrong because it's hanging on the rim, and you can still bat it out.
Definitely a couple times, I've been watching it bounce on, and be like, oh wait, I can go, But also on the offensive side, you can grab it and dunk it, but guys might be mad, that was going in, man. You don't gotta steal my point. But no, I'm excited to see how it applies.
How is this team getting ready for this tournament as you have not only this against Puerto Rico coming up in the exhibition, but you've got Malaga. You're going all over the place before you play in the Philippines.
I think that a lot of the other FIBA teams obviously have gone to training camp earlier and, have been in. But I feel like for us personally, we're doing an unbelievable job of coming together and meshing so quick. And, props to our coaching staff. We have a staff of unbelievable coaches. And so just trying to learn from them and to buy in, to what we're doing. And obviously we have incredibly talented guys, but more than that, like I said before, unselfish guys. And I think that these exhibition games and this experience before going to, the Philippines, I think that's really where we're going to learn and mesh.
What are your expectations for yourself?
I think right off the bat, like I was saying before, being a defensive presence, being a defensive anchor and having, that paint controlled to some say. And then on the offensive side, crashing the glass every time, being a presence in the paint and having guys, drawing guys in, being able to catch in that short roll, operate out of that short roll, and just playing hard and playing to win.
How are you gaining some chemistry with some of these point guards? Because I'm sure it's very different from what you had in Utah, or even at Auburn. You've got Tyrese, you've got Jalen Brunson, a couple of really good guys.
I think, when you play with guys like that are so incredibly talented and are unbelievable passers, it's not super hard to really, like, if you know how to play the right way. I kind of just roll, and if I'm open, I can trust that they'll find me. They're unbelievable passers and obviously unbelievable scorers as well. But just the way they operate, and they're very vocal, so it's not hard.
When we talked about this during the season, screening was something that you had to improve on early on in your NBA career to where you are now. You've gotten better. Have you seen yourself even take a step during this USA process?
I think it's kind of too soon to say because I think we've only had 2 practices, but
it's true. I forget how short this training camp is.
It is a little short, but just learning how to talk to guys, who I'm setting the screens for, and learning what they like, which hand they like going to. I can definitely say that I've taken a step in that, in that way of being able to make it more personalized for the person I'm screening for.
How is it going against the select team? They were able to get you the other day.
Yeah.
A time-honored tradition.
Yeah.
I've heard
all the stories. I mean, those guys are unbelievably talented as well. Cade Cunningham, Jalen Duren, those guys were playing really well. It was fun. It was a blast. And it was good to see what we did because that team obviously is, it's a select team, whatever. That team is
they're one
really
call away.
good. Yeah.
They're one call away. If one of you guys goes down, they're right there.
They're unbelievable. And I'm sure they could compete in, the FIBA World Cup as well. So going against them, I think it's a great experience.
How unique is Chet? He seems like a really unique player out there on the floor.
Obviously everyone knows, how skilled he is, obviously his size and his length, but more than that, he is not afraid of anything. He takes it to your chest every time. He's got a chip on his shoulder, and, every player on the court can respect that.
Looking at how your year went with the Utah Jazz, first time to talk to you after making first-team All-Rookie, after finishing top 3 in the Rookie of the Year. Have you reflected about what you were able to accomplish and trying to put that in perspective that, wow, I actually did something that was really good and really good for my team?
Yeah, I'm not great at giving myself a lot of credit. I won't lie to you. But, I do recognize, that was, it was a special year. Obviously not the end goal, but I also recognize, I was put in a lot of good positions, and I was put in an unbelievable system, and my coaching staff was unbelievable. My teammates, I couldn't have been able to do it without them. And then just the Jazz fan base itself. It was unbelievable. Selling out every game, that atmosphere was electric. Even on bad games where I would, even my DMs like, hey, keep your head up. Like the Jazz fans are just unbelievable, and I'm so thankful to them.
Well, now you want them to give you restaurant recommendations.
Exactly. I'm asking for a favor as well.
Okay, so give him restaurant recommendations in his DMs, along with giving him some props. But how do you go through those highs and lows? Like that's something that you have to prepare yourself for your rookie year. It's not going to go 100% great. How do you think you handled it, and how did you go into the offseason with it?
I think in college, you have a bad game, you have about a 4-day stretch where you're kind of just lingering on that game. In the NBA, that's not the case. Yeah. You might have a back-to-back or a day in between. You don't have a lot of time to really, just delve into what you did wrong. So you have to get past it quick, because you can't let it snowball and get to the next game and then have a stretch of, instead of 1 bad game or 2 bad games, have 5 or 6 bad games. So just trying to not get too high when it was high, or not get too low, but trying to stay consistent and really lose yourself in your work and find confidence in your work. That's what worked for me. And, I'm extremely thankful to have an unbelievable inner circle and an unbelievable family that really helped me get through those low times. And I think relying on the people closest to you during those times is, really important.
And ultimately, a little more good times than bad.
Right. And then they also keep me humble on those good times.
Yes.
So it goes hand in hand.
So who's keeping you humble most?
Everybody.
Because I met your
dad,
brother, Houston,
mom,
the doc,
sister, everybody. There's nobody that's not keeping me humble.
Is somebody specifically good at the trash talk with you, keeping you humble?
I don't really get a big head myself, but if it ever does happen, they always be like, hey, calm down now. It was one good game. But yeah, no, I'm extremely thankful for them.
I want to talk about a couple plays because they really stood out from that first year. The double block against Bam.
Mm-hmm.
That game, you really went through a stretch where first half was one thing, the second half was a different thing. Mm-hmm. How do you go against that type of player who's so skilled, so versatile as a big, and ultimately getting a double block?
Yeah, Bam is – I'll talk about his defensive side first. He can guard 1 through 5, basically. A very, very versatile defender. And because of that, going against him on the offensive side, it gets a little frustrating sometimes because he's just so good at switching on screens and then, just guarding a whole team. On the offensive side, his mid-range and face-up game and being able to shoot that shot is – it's very, very tough to guard. One thing that I'm good at is, I have natural length and height, and I don't necessarily have to overcommit to a shot. If I remember correctly, I think I was in help. He came over to shoot a layup or a dunk, and I blocked that. He got it back and then shot a fader.
Yep.
I kind of when he started rising up like that, he was dead meat in my eyes because I knew that I was getting that ball because of how long I am. I don't have to, jump, make some super athletic play. I'm basically right there. So that's just, that was just the way the cookie crumbled on that play, and, I went with it. And I think we ended up losing on a buzzer beater that game. But
you did.
Yeah, Tyler Hero coming down, hitting the 3. Yeah, I remember that.
Not to bring up old
stuff.
Not to keep you humble. Not to keep you humble, but
right,
still.
Right. But yeah, no, that was just one of those plays.
What is it about this league that, bigs are – you have an Embiid, you have a Giannis, you have a Jokic, you have a Bam. This array of bigs in the league, you think, a couple years ago it was all going to be about Steph and the three-point revolution, but bigs are coming back.
Yeah.
They're in this league and they're ready to play.
I think, not to bring up another analogy about cookies, but there's not a cookie-cutter big in the league. There's so many different kinds of bigs and so many different things that they all do and so many different things that they're all great at. From being able to handle the ball, being able to play make, being able to pass, being able to shoot, being able to work out of the ISO. Like you said, bigs are unbelievable. There's no coincidence that the 2 of the MVPs in the past year were both bigs. I guess 3 because Jokic was a 2-time, but I digress. It's a fun league, and it's a lot of fun. Being a big is it's a fun time.
and it's a battle for you.
It is a battle.
Every single
night.
It's a lot of fun. What excites you about year 2 What have you been working on this offseason? I already read that you're putting on, the story came out, the 15 pounds of muscle. It's never 15 pounds of fat that people gain in the offseason.
I listened. That would have been bad. I mean, I did say pounds of muscle because I've been working, but it could have been pounds of fat. I could have came in here all chunky, some crumbs on my shirt or something.
Well, you're talking about cookies.
Yeah, exactly. No, as far as the second year, I'm really excited to hit the ground running. Going into this year, having some familiarity with the league and the NBA, and being comfortable and knowing in what I do and what I can immediately do from the start. But no, more than that is applying what I've worked on in this offseason, and applying what I've learned from last year, and having more confidence in that, and getting a bigger role asked of me because of that. And I welcome it. And I know my coaching staff have been unbelievably supportive and encouraging, and because of that, I'm just pumped for it.
You got 3 new teammates out of the draft. Of the first round: Keontae George, Bryce Sensabaugh, Taylor Hendricks. It's their first year. If you have any advice for them, what would you give them?
I think it goes back to what I was saying about staying consistent. Don't get too high on the highs. Don't get too low on the lows. The season is so long. There's so much time. Use this year as a year to learn, and just try to learn as much as you can. And every chance you get, whether your shot's falling or, something you make a mistake, just try to impact the game as much as you can to win, and try to learn. And, ask advice. Don't be afraid to ask questions. And that's what I did, and it went decently well.
Are you expecting Coach Hardy to dress up as you for Halloween this year?
That would be really funny.
Because you dressed up as him.
I did,
right?
Yeah. I did. I would. I hope so.
What does the impression sound like of Coach Hardy?
Oh, I don't know if I can do that. Maybe that video that I took will get leaked one day, but for now it stays.
Okay.
Stays
all right.
hidden.
All right. But if he does it, you would be.
I would have
fully accepting of it.
That would be so funny. And seeing what he would impersonate, I would be laughing very hard. He'd have to do a good job of it, obviously.
Right.
But
I think you would have to bring up the fact that you apologize to him all the time.
Probably. It's just sorry. Yeah, probably would have to do that.
Because it was the free throws that he said you apologized?
There's a lot of stuff. Probably. I'm sure I apologize for a free throw here and there.
How are you going to use USA basketball to blossom in this?
I think obviously, this is an unbelievable experience. Playing under these coaches that are historic coaches, playing with these players that have been in the league, and learning from them, and just trying to see how I do on the international stage. But more than that, just trying to learn as much as I can from it. Just like I said, just the resources that I will personally have on this trip with USA Basketball is just unbelievable.
Is there one teammate you want to block who's in the World Cup?
Lowry. I want Lowry to try to dunk on me, and I block him and just look at him like that. But obviously it goes hand in hand, because he might sneak one past me and dunk on me. And even if that happened, I don't know. We would probably laugh about it. But yeah, I'd say Lowry.
And he was dunking the other day.
No, I saw. Yeah, no,
you saw that
reverse
exhibition?
dunk was nasty.
Yeah, that was nice.
It's really nasty.
He's coming back with a vengeance.
Yeah. He learned a lot in boot camp.
And it happens to bigs. They get caught sometimes.
They do get caught, speaking from experience.
How do you get past that as a big?
You just it's part of it. Understanding that's part of the job. You can't get so focused on that. Go down, just really whenever it happens to me, you just gotta be like, just chop it up. It is what it is, and just keep running and try again the next time. I have a pretty short memory when it comes to that kind of stuff.
But it would be extended if Lowry gets you. That I don't think you would hear the end of it.
Probably not. But I would be okay with that, I think. I don't know if I'd be okay with that.
I was gonna say I don't know about. I don't know if you would.
I'm gonna block him if he tries to dunk. I'm gonna block him.
I don't know if you would do the dual press conferences like you did last year.
Yeah, I might scoot over a little bit or something like that. Yeah.
That might be difficult.
We'll see.
Group play begins for the FIBA World Cup and Team USA at the end of the month. They've got New Zealand, Greece, Jordan. He's on the team. He's Walker Kessler on Roundball, Roundup on UtahJazz.com. Walker, thank you so much.
Of course. Happy to do it.